How's it going, everybody? The Cosmic Crucible Content Creator Clash was today, and we got to see our first look at Accursed Crucible gameplay, and it was definitely something. We got 3 promo codes to share with you, which I'm going to do right after we announce the newest Crucible champion.
Promise Stun Xavier, perfect. Striker shot. Alright, there goes the Xavier. Alright, Xavier's up. We got the ult. This is that I win button. And Striker shot. Zombie Dum Dum. Oh, of course you come back to life. Why wouldn't you come back to life? Let's special into you. Stay dead. Thank you. Yep. Super easy. And we'll just blast you. Alright, got it. Sweet. That's gonna save my APOC. And let's just enjoy this one here. Because screw you, Thanos. Screw you, Thanos. I'm gonna throw a planet at you this time. There we go. Alright, basic here. Now we're gonna end up popping our ults. I misplayed that. Did I actually win this thing? 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 Finally, I'm the bride. No longer bridesmaid.
That's right, guys. Shout out to Dacer. That's my goat. I really like Dacer. We talk all the time in DMs, talking about different kind of character builds, team compositions, encounters, all kinds of stuff. So really happy that he got the dub. That makes me happy. He was my rival in the last tournament, and when I join the next tournament, I hope to see him in the finals again. But because of Dacer's win and because all of our great content creators' contributions, we do have 3 new codes to share with you. Challenge 6cc is going to get you 200 L4 training modules, 1 million gold. Thunder 5C win, 200 L4 training modules, 100 power cores. And then finally, a new CC champion, 200 power cores and 2 million gold. Remember, guys, if you're trying to put all 3 of these in at the same time, it's going to ask you, like, wait 2 minutes. And if you just stubbornly keep inputting it, it might get credited to your account, but it's not going to show you the pop-up on the website. So just keep that in mind. Be a little bit patient. Do one, walk away for a minute, refresh your browser, do the second one, and then it's going to come in a lot cleaner. But this is great. Look at this. 300 power cores, 3 million gold, and 400 L4 training modules. That's amazing. That's amazeballs. But let's talk about the tournament, because I know you guys are more here to hear about the Accursed gameplay and how it went. Now, when I was looking over the Accursed kits right before I had to drop out of the tournament, I noticed a huge, and I mean monumentally huge flaw in their design, and that is that they are super slow. And the cool thing about the Accursed team is that they do counter speed bar, speed up, and speed stat, so that they're covering everything. But with Satana being the fastest member at 127 and them not stopping the speed stat of villains, they are really open to some counters. So a lot of the competitors in the tournament actually opted to use their Professor X against this. And I don't think that was a bad idea. A lot of the guys actually had Professor X on offense, which actually blew my mind. But they were doing it because they wanted to be careful with the Accursed team. And this is kind of where I think like 80% of Professor X's went, unless there was an enemy Professor X on defense, which I believe only happened in 3 matchups, anyone who was up against ZKG. So this was really, really needed in the case where there was a Mephisto. Now, we didn't get to see a non-Mephisto team until Mobile Gamer faced one, and he ended up doing a couple cool things, playing around with base speed stat that worked out to his advantage. So in this case, this is Dacier. I'm hiding him right now. This is Dacier and all of his glory, and he brought in Kingpin. The reason he brought in Kingpin is because he knew that he was going to have to eat an attack from that Mephisto. and you have to eat a really devastating special. And so to make sure none of his characters just got wrecked out the gate, he brought in Kingpin because that would summon in a spawn that has pre-taunt, which was really nice. He goes for the Satana because this team is actually weak to stuns. So his Black Cat, I believe, was a skirmisher here. And then Quasar. Quasar, my God. This guy was the MVP of the tournament against the Accursed team. Once again, the fastest character, if there's no Mephisto or no other plug-and-play character on the Accursed team, is Satana at 125. They do not get speed stat. They do not gain speed bar, except Juggernaut, if he gets hit, he gets 30%. And they don't get speed up. So they are super vulnerable, and they're really squishy. You cannot put defense down on this team until Satana takes her first turn. So they are protected a little bit. You can't put slow. You can't do all that kind of stuff. So it's not this is a bad team. It's just that they have a glaring weakness. And if you put an extremely powerful character like Professor X or like a 7 Red Star Quasar, which we're all going to get eventually, you can do absolutely massive damage. So this again is Dacer, and he's bringing in Professor X, this time against a non-Mephisto version. And this I thought was really telling. Professor X is not needed for this, right? Professor X was a cautionary measure for people not to screw up. And as we get further in and we look at other examples of people facing off against the Accursed, we're going to see that that makes a lot of sense. Now check this out. Dacier's Black Cat already did about 25% damage to the Satana, who will be the first character to go. Juggernaut doesn't get speed until you hit him. And then the 7 Red Star Quasar, the special does insane damage. First of all, they're cosmic. So I do believe that Quasar's basic is doing 10%, which is nuts. But Quasar's special damage is insane. Look, bam, 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 dead. So we can all look forward to that, which I think is crazy. Yeah, the Quasar special is just monumental. Professor X takes out the Helverine, which you could have done with a different character. My man brought in Nova, which is definitely not something I would have done. I would have probably brought in like a Songbird. I'd probably keep Songbird on the offense for this. Of course, though, you're going to end up hitting that Juggernaut if you use the ultimate, so use that with caution. But he just ripped through it, and this was really cool. So I think we have some versions where we don't have Apocalypse in here. Oh, this is OG Diamond Dave. And this is him doing this matchup into combat support. So stage 1, where they're going to get vulnerables, they're going to do insane damage here, right? So Diamond Dave did something interesting here. Now, we see a lot of familiar faces. We see the Quasar, we see the Black Cat, but he's got Shadow King here. Shadow King at 125, he's actually tied with Satana. So if Satana's dead, then he's going to go next. So it's like, okay, that's fine. Now, Nightcrawler, he's not going to get speed up on spawn, which is actually kind of a good thing. Because what this team is going to do is they're going to take out that Satana before Nightcrawler's turn. And then Nightcrawler will actually give the speed bar. And he's got a turn 1 stun. And at 120, he's actually not super slow. Sorry, I know I'm wheezing. I got COVID. That's on me. But I thought this was also very interesting. And it showed that there's different ways to tackle this team. Just get rid of the Satana first. And the window kind of opens up. All right, let's continue on. So he's actually going to walk through this. Once again, using a Professor X on this seems like overkill to me. I think we're more like looking at a Mephisto. This is my guy, Mobile Gamer, and he's actually not going to use Professor X. This will be the first time we see a non-Professor X version, and I love the team. So he is going to use Songbird at 132, super fast character. He's got Quasar, 129, absolute behemoth of a character. And then he has Null and Gore, 2 villains. They will get their speed stat. Now, the danger here is that by bringing Null in, the Mephisto will use a special. So I actually would have probably subbed out. I mean, Gore can hit hard, but not too hard. I mean, he would hit harder than a free-to-play Songbird for sure. But I would do what we saw, in retrospect, what we saw Dacer do. I'd bring a Kingpin in. Kingpin would come in with that summon. He could do more summons. I think that would be pretty interesting. Protect you at least a little bit there. Give you a source of offense up is something that Kingpin could do. So I think that that's a really cool use case here. And we'll see that there was danger here, right? Mephisto immediately gets chosen, and look at all that damage. Look at those bleeds. Now, he gets stuck on the Juggernaut because the enemy went first, but he does the right thing. He's going to go ahead and he's going to use the basic. This is where he kind of fucks up, right? Sorry, that's where he messes up. He uses the Mephisto basic here. Normally not a terrible thing, but he could have done the special here. The special from Mephisto, correct me if I'm wrong, would actually put Disrupt out there, and it would have done a lot more damage single target to this Juggernaut. It would have pulled the defense up off, lots of stuff like that. Sorry, we're losing resolution back there. But even though the Accursed team ends up getting their abilities off here, we really see the power of Mephisto against this team. Lots of people are saying this is a team that counters Mephisto. I wouldn't say that just yet, right? Because Mephisto is still giving his entire team offense up. He's not giving them defense down, but he is giving them lots of other nasty debuffs. And if there's no enemy Mephisto, he has free reign just to take out someone like Zatanna. Now, if there's a null on the enemy team, on the enemy Accursed team, then he still has free reign to just do 2 basics into one of these characters because his villain, his speed stat is not messed up. So we're starting to see a little theme here, right? You can absolutely get through the Accursed team with some big names, but not too crazy. It doesn't have to be Professor X. Quasar is looking like he's going to be a great counter. So this was an attempt Valley tried to clean up, and it went really bad. Here's Mobile Gamer, and I believe here he is trying to do a mirror match. Now this, highly don't recommend. We're going to see both mirror matches that were attempted in this tournament went to hell in a handbasket super quick. Maybe we're going to figure out the right turn order that is going to make this easier. I think rooms will actually make this in like just too complicated to even mess with, right? Like for stage 1, if you win the coin flip, cool, but now you give them vulnerables and you're just going to walked over, right? Maybe in stage 3, if you lose the coin flip, you're going to lose your ults because a crit will cost you your ults. And this team relies on having their ults early. So there's a lot that goes on here. After that, I don't think Mobile nor Valley were able to clean up after they lost those mirror matches. It was just too rough. Like, this is not a bad team. This is definitely not the point of this video is not to say that the Accursed is a bad team. The point is to say we know their weakness. We don't know their strength on offense yet. The most like enticing matches we saw people use the Accursed team on offense was just against the Mirror, which is always a shit show. A Mirror is always going to be a shit show. So I'm actually thinking that the Accursed team is going to be a really good offense team. Now, it could definitely be thrown on defense, right? If you don't take the exact right weapons in there, it's going to cost you. If you don't bring in a Null against an Accursed that has a Mephisto, or you don't bring in the Mephisto, or if you don't scale to whatever your opponent's Accursed team is scaled up to, and you can't nuke out 2, maybe 3 of the members before they get a turn, it's going to go really bad for you really fast because their damage is crazy. It's crazy, which is I'm hoping that I'm going to use them on offense. One thing I know they're going to beat, because it's written out in their kits, is Starjammers. This must be why they refuse to buff the Landra's speed. Because I think like making the Starjammers just 2 times better as what they were, while not breaking them everywhere else, would have just been to buff the Landra's speed to like 125 or 126. But we see they didn't do that, and now we see why. By having Howard at 120, Rocket at 116, Lander at 113, and Groot lower, I think that's what their speed stats are. This team that stops their speed bar, that stops their speed stat, will actually get ahead of them. That can't gain trauma, ability to block slow, all that kind of stuff that Satana is stopping, right? This team will beat Starjammers. So I actually saw a couple Starjammers on defense in the tournament that I was really hoping somebody would throw their Accursed team at. And then they could use Starjammers against something like an Odinati team. So I do think this team is going to greatly shake up Crucible. I'm excited for this team, but I also think they're going to buff this team. I think because we saw a single character like Mephisto carry characters like Black Cat, Quasar, Kingpin, whatever the case, characters faster than 125 that had new stats. I think because we saw that, we will likely see this team get buffed before it hits the live server, because I think there's going to be a lot of big names complaining about this out the gate, which I think is kind of funny. I'm kind of okay with it because I would just use them on offense, and I think that there will be a way to beat them on the defense still. One of the ways they could do this is they can give them an old school Emma effect, but only against cosmic characters, right? So that would mess with your Quasar. That would put him lower. That would mess with your Mephisto. That would mess with your Null, your Gore. So they could do something like that. It would be very niche, so it wouldn't maybe carry on into future counters they want to do. Like, so they wouldn't make the next Crucible best team a cosmic team. They would make it a city team or a global team or whatever the case may be. So I can see them kind of tinkering like that. I hope they don't, really. I mean, I hope they don't, because I think the team is actually in a really good spot, and I think the Envoys were overkilling it. And what we haven't seen, which is so important to these new characters, is how they react with scaling. How are they going to react with Crimson Gear Tier 20? How are they going to act when we eventually get diamonds on them? This team looks really good, but has the one glaring weakness. And I think that's what most teams should be. Really good, one glaring weakness. Make no mistake. If this is on defense, it's going to tax your roster, okay? Somebody turtles, and this is one of the teams that are turtling with, it's going to hurt you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Shout out to Dace here for his very, very impressive Cosmic Crucible content creator clash victory. Thank you so much for the promo codes to all the content creators that participated. And let me know what you think about the Accursed team. For now, though, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.